as well. Boog, good morning. How are you, man?
Top of the morning, guys. What's happening?
Before we look forward, let's look back. Divisional round weekend. What team stood out to you the most?
Probably the Rams. I think if you watch how they ran the football, and passing-wise, Jared Goff didn't have a great day. He didn't particularly play well. But that offensive line led by former LSU Tiger Andrew Whitworth, man, they were dominant. And I know T-Bob was probably sitting at home wishing he were still playing because they were just lining up, just punishing the Cowboys, man. And if they play that way, if they're that physical with the way that Sean McVay schemes up play-action passes, they are going to be a tough out. I don't care who they play, when they play, what time they play.
Yeah, Boog, look, I couldn't pass block worth a damn. So I'm down to run the ball 37 times. So this brings me to my next question. Everybody right now, myself including, is kind of parroting the same line that with how the Rams have been playing lately, if you want to beat the Rams, you simply have to stop the run. Do you think it's that simple?
I think everything that they do is predicated off the run game. They're a top 5 rushing attempt team in the National Football League, and everything that they do is off of play action. And if you can stop the run, then your linebackers can kind of, cheat a little bit on the play action pass. But if you're making a decision to come up and tackle C.J. Anderson or Todd Gurley, or do I drop back and cover that deep over with Brandon Cook screaming from pylon to pylon, to me, that's going to be a real issue. I would say that whichever team can stop the run and make the other team one-dimensional. I know it sounds cliche. I think that team is going to have an advantage. However, I would particularly put the advantage to New Orleans. If New Orleans can stop the run and make Jared Goff throw the ball 40 times, I would trust Drew Brees throwing it 40 times more than I will Jared Goff.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to put it on Goff's shoulder. And he had a lot of statistical success against the Saints last time, but New Orleans still won that game. How they won that game, Boog, a lot was because of Mike Thomas dominating Marcus Peters. Now, I know Marcus Peters all in his feels. He's all upset about it, saying, like, tell Sean Payton to catch up. Well, Marcus Peters probably isn't going to be going against Mike Thomas that much, Sonny, right? It's going to be a keep Talib. You've talked about this in the past. What do you think? Can Thomas have similar success against Talib like he did Peters?
Well, here's what I'll say. All right, I'm going to break this down for you. The definition of a good coach, to me, is what Bill Belichick always does. I'm going to take what you do best away from you and make your secondary options your secondary weapons to beat me. I don't know how or why any defensive coordinator worth their grain of salt would not take away Michael Thomas from the Saints. Like, Drew Brees throws it to him 17 times a game.
Yeah.
So whether that's Talib and a safety, here's what I would do. I would put Talib on Michael Thomas and have a safety over the top. That way Talib can do what he does best, which is undercut, go for the football, jump routes. I would give him a safety over the top. That way he could do that and wouldn't give up a touchdown. Marcus Peters doesn't have the skills man-to-man to cover Michael Thomas. That's why you heard Sean Payton say we like that matchup. They wanted that matchup. Now, exactly, a lot. Now, as far as that's concerned, if you look at what the Saints do and you go back to the matchup the first time, Sean Payton is the ultimate FU guy. Because here's what he did. He said, Aaron Donald, you're great. You're the defensive player of the year. We love you. Maybe you should be the MVP. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run it right at you. Go back and turn the tape on and watch the Saints play the Rams. They ran it right at Aaron Donald over and over and over again. And Kamara and Ingram had a lot of success. So what do I expect? Sean Payton is that type of guy. Like, he has stones of steel. Are they going to throw it at Talib? Absolutely. Are they going to run it at Aaron Donald? Absolutely, because that's the personality that Sean Payton has. Go back and watch week 1. The first matchup between these two, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. They're going to do it over and over again because Sean is arrogant enough to think, and he may be right, that his guys are just better than the Rams, and he doesn't need to scheme up a lot of plays. Not that he won't, but he's just going to line up and come at these dudes, man.
Booger McFarland Weekly here, presented by Central Plumbing Company, ESPN New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Alexandria. You mentioned.
I think they know who.
See, he always does. He always does this.
He's trying to pub the sponsor as well.
He's all on Monday Night Football now. He's big time. I think they know who I am.
I'm just saying. I would like to give the audience more of me and less of the commercials during this interview.
That should be the tease for Boog every single week right there. You mentioned a conversation that you had with Sean Payton about Sheldon Rankins and where he was. You thought he was about to explode and going to be a mega player in this league. Setback with the Achilles injury last week. How big of an impact is that on New Orleans on that front four, and how do you replace him if you can?
I don't know if you can replace him because of the impact that he was having with the interior push. Here's something that you may see. You may see a package where they put Cam Jordan or Davenport inside just to give a different look. Because here's what you don't want. You don't want the edge rushers coming around the edge and Jared Goff with the ability to step up. He's going to play action pass. He's going to be 7-8 yards deep, and then he's going to step up. So you want to make sure that you have interior push. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of the ends come inside on a crucial down just to try to get some interior push. But there's no doubt about it. Rankins will be back. If I were the Saints, I wouldn't bring Rankins back till probably the second half of 2019.
Yeah.
Maybe the last 8 games or 6 games of 2019. I think he's a star waiting to happen. He had 8 sacks this year. It's amazing when the light comes on. And I think the light came on for him. And so I just hope that they take their time with him. Even if it means missing most of 2019, I just think he's going to be a star. And I would hate for them to have developed him so far and then allow him to go somewhere else. So hopefully they take their time with him. But to answer your original question, I do think it's going to affect them. And I think the way they can adjust that is maybe moving some of those ends inside and maybe a NASCAR package similar to what the Giants did when they had Strahan and Ura and Tuck and those guys.
Yeah, and when we've seen Cam Jordan have a lot of success from that 3 technique. I think about like a Falcons game a couple of years ago where he had 3 sacks from the interior. So be on the lookout for that come Sunday. Boog, you mentioned it earlier, running right at Aaron Donald, but I want to explore that matchup a little more. Saints offensive line against Donald, Sue, Brockers, Fowler. Like, it's a hell of a defensive front, but the Saints had a lot of success game 1. Can they replicate it? And then how concerned are you about Andrews Pete playing this game with a broken hand because he really struggled against Fletcher Cox? Fletcher Cox is great, but Aaron Donald is a step up even from him.
Yeah, but Fletcher Cox is a different type of player. He's a power player. Aaron Donald is more of a speed, finesse player. So I think Andrews Pete will be better against Donald if given the opportunity to go one-on-one. Now, here's what I would say. Sean Payton blocked Aaron Donald one-on-one a lot. I mean, if you go back and watch the way the Saints played the Rams, it was almost as if they said, hey, screw you guys. We're coming right at you. We're not going to do a lot of fancy stuff. Hey, Peters, you want Michael Thomas? Go ahead, get him. I'm coming right at you.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron Donald, you want a one-on-one? Here we come. And so I think that they're going to line up because guess what? It's the National Football League. It's the 2 best teams in the NFC. Hey, they know what we're going to do. We know what they're going to do. It's no time to try to trick people. The better team has to play better that day to win. So I honestly think that the Saints relish this matchup. They're looking forward to it. And I can't wait. Here's the only thing that I'm concerned about. If you're the NFL, why is the game that's playing outside played at night and the game that's played inside?
I agree.
No idea.
I don't understand right now.
No idea.
Give me 60 seconds on the AFC side before we get you out of here.
60 seconds on the AFC side. If you had $1 million over the last 10 years, you bet a lot of that on Brady and Belichick, you would have won a lot more
lot of
than
money.
you would have lost.
A lot of money.
And so here's what I would say. I think that it's going to be a fascinating game. I grew up during the Brady era. I've played against it. He's cut my heart out several times. Mahomes is the young, dynamite phenom right now. I think this game comes down to really simple. Which quarterback doesn't turn the football over and who can make the most plays, especially when the temperature is going to be 0 degrees. I'm going to lean towards a 41-year-old Tom Brady more than the young stud. I just think he's seen a little bit more. Mahomes is going to be the MVP. Sorry, Drew Brees, but I do think Brady wins this game.
What's the coldest game you ever played in?
Minus 15 was the wind chill at Green Bay. I was so cold. I don't really drink. I took a shot of hot toddy before the game, and it still didn't help.
Oh, God, enjoy the week. We'll talk to you next week.
Anytime. T-Bob, by the way, how's the weight loss coming? I haven't checked on that in a while.
Look, it's early. It's early in the year. That's all we got. It's first quarter. First quarter of the year. We got to finish strong.
Have you even started?
Yeah, look, I don't really want to get into details this morning. It's still January. It's not even February yet.
Later, Bug.
It's not even February
Close
yet.
that out.